Walk into the wrong BMW service center and you could leave with a bill for repairs you never needed. Recent reports show that nearly half of all car owners have been sold unnecessary services, and BMW owners are prime targets. Why? Because these cars have a reputation for being expensive to maintain, so inflated charges don't raise red flags the way they should. In this video, I'm breaking down the 7 biggest BMW service center scams you need to watch for. Some will cost you hundreds, others could actually damage your car. And number 5 is a serious safety risk you need to know about. If you're serious about keeping your BMW running right without getting ripped off, you'll want to stick around for all of them. Before we jump in, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're here to give you the real information BMW owners actually need, not the sales pitch you get at the dealership. Let me be straight with you, I've worked on BMWs for years. From E46 3 Series to G20S, F10 5 Series to X5s, I've seen it all, and the stories are always the same. Unnecessary repairs, inflated bills, parts that don't match what's on the invoice, and service advisors who act like your car is one oil change away from catastrophic failure. That's exactly why I'm exposing these scams, so you can walk into any BMW service center with confidence and never get taken advantage of. Scam number 1, charging for software updates that should be free. Here's a newer scam becoming more common with modern BMWs. Models like the 3 Series, 5 Series, X3, X5, and even the newer 4 Series often require software updates for the engine control unit, transmission control module, or iDrive infotainment system. These updates improve performance, fix known glitches, address drivability issues, or add safety refinements. And here's the important part. BMW provides many of these updates free of charge under warranty or as part of standard service support. But some shady service centers won't tell you that. Instead, they'll add a line to your bill, charging $100, $150, sometimes even $250 for an update that should have cost nothing. I've seen receipts where customers were billed for a diagnostic software refresh, ECU programming fee, or system calibration update, when BMW already covered it. The update process looks technical, laptops plugged in, diagnostic tools running, so customers assume it's legitimate labor. In reality, it's part of BMW's standard service support, not a paid job. This scam works because most BMW owners don't know what's covered and what isn't. The service advisor presents it as routine maintenance, you approve it without question, and suddenly you're paying for something that should have been free. I've had customers come to me confused about why one dealer charged them nothing for a software update, while another charged $200 for the exact same thing. The answer? One was honest, the other wasn't. Protect yourself by asking upfront whether a software update is covered under warranty or included in your service plan. You can also check your BMW Connected Drive portal or your owner's account online for any pending updates or recall notices. If a service center tries to charge you for an update anyway, challenge it. Ask them to show proof that it's not covered. No reputable BMW service center should charge for something BMW provides for free. And if they push back or get defensive, that's your sign to walk away. Scam number 2. Oil service intervals pushed way too hard. BMW's condition-based servicing system monitors your driving and tells you when maintenance is due. For most modern BMWs, that means oil changes somewhere between 10,000 and 15,000 miles, depending on how you drive, what kind of conditions you're in, and how the car calculates wear. The system works, and it's designed by BMW engineers specifically to reduce unnecessary service while keeping your engine protected. But some service centers ignore it completely. They'll insist you need oil changes every 5,000 miles, just like older cars from the 80s and 90s, and they'll make it sound urgent using phrases like engine protection, long-term reliability, or we've seen engines fail from waiting too long. The truth? BMW engines are built for extended intervals with the right full synthetic oil. Changing it more often than the system recommends doesn't help your engine. It just costs you more money and puts more profit in their pocket. I've had customers spend twice as much on oil changes over the life of their car because they trusted a service advisor over BMW's own engineering. One guy with an F3350, I was changing his oil every 5,000 miles for years because his local shop told him the 10,000-mile interval was risky. His engine ran fine, but he wasted hundreds of dollars on oil changes he didn't need. When he finally asked me about it, I showed him his service records. His CBS system had never once called for service that early. He'd been scammed for years. Here's the thing, if your BMW's CBS system says you're good for another 5,000 miles, you're good. The system tracks cold starts, engine load, fuel quality and driving conditions. It knows when your oil is breaking down. And unless you're tracking the car every weekend or driving in extreme conditions, like desert heat or Arctic cold, the system is accurate. Follow your car's CBS system. If a shop pressures you into early changes or tells you the CBS system is just a guideline, find a different shop. And always make sure they're using the correct BMW spec oil, usually a Long Life 01, Long Life 04, or Long Life 14 certified synthetic. Using the wrong oil, even if it's high quality, can cause issues with your engine or emission system. Scam number 3, unnecessary brake fluid flushes. Brake fluid does need replacing eventually. It's hygroscopic, meaning it absorbs moisture over time from the air. When that happens, the fluid's boiling point drops, which can reduce braking performance under hard use and cause internal corrosion in the brake system. BMW typically recommends flushing brake fluid every 2 years, sometimes longer, depending on the model and how it's driven. But some service centers recommend it every year or even every oil change. They'll tell you the fluid is dark, contaminated, or degraded, and that your brakes are at serious risk if you don't flush it immediately. In reality, slight discoloration is completely normal. Brake fluid naturally darkens as it ages and picks up microscopic debris from the system. Unless you're tracking the car regularly, driving in mountainous terrain, or the fluid is genuinely degraded with visible contamination, you don't need a flush every 12 months. A brake fluid flush costs anywhere from $150 to $300 depending on where you go. Do it once a year unnecessarily, and that's $300 you didn't need to spend. Over 5 years, that's $1,500 down the drain for a service your car didn't require. I've seen BMW owners talked into annual brake flushes because the service advisor made it sound like a safety issue. It's not, at least not at that interval. Stick to BMW's recommended interval, which is usually every 2 years for most models. If you're unsure whether your fluid actually needs replacing, ask to see a brake fluid tester. These handheld devices measure the moisture content in the fluid. Fresh brake fluid should test above 3% water content. Anything significantly below that threshold means replacement is due. But if the tester shows your fluid is still good, don't let anyone pressure you into a flush you don't need. And here's another thing worth knowing. Some shops will show you a sample of your brake fluid in a clear container, claiming it's dirty and needs replacing. But how do you know that sample actually came from your car? You don't. Always ask them to test the fluid while you watch, or bring your own tester if you want to be absolutely sure. Next up, if you're finding this helpful, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We're covering real BMW ownership here, the kind of information that actually saves you money and keeps your car running right without the dealership markup. Scam number 4, fake engine air filter replacements. This one's simple but surprisingly effective. You bring your BMW in for an oil change or routine service, and suddenly the service advisor comes back with bad news. Your engine air filter is filthy, clogged with dirt and debris, and it needs replacing right away. They might even show you a photo of a disgusting black crumpled filter to prove their point. The only problem? That filter might not be yours. Then they charge you $60 to $80, sometimes even more, for the replacement. But here's what actually happens in many cases. They never replace it at all. Or they swap in a cheap $10 filter from the parts shelf while billing you for a genuine BMW part or a premium aftermarket filter. Most customers never check, so the scam works perfectly. You paid for a service you didn't get, or you got a low-quality part at a premium price. The frustrating part is how easy engine air filters are to replace on most BMWs. On a 3 Series, it takes about 5 minutes. Pop the hood, unlatch the airbox cover, pull out the old filter, drop in the new one, and close it back up. No tools needed on most models. The filter itself costs about $20 for a quality aftermarket option like MAN or Marley, or around $35 for a genuine BMW part. So you're paying $60 to $80 for a 5-minute job you could easily do yourself. Protect yourself by asking to see the old filter they removed from your car. Not a generic dirty filter, but the actual one from your engine. If they can't show it to you, that's a red flag. Also, check your owner's manual for the replacement interval. BMW usually recommends replacing the engine air filter every 30,000 to 40,000 miles, depending on driving conditions. If you're not close to that mileage and you haven't been driving in dusty environments, you probably don't need a new filter yet, or just do it yourself. It's one of the easiest maintenance tasks on any car, and doing it once will show you how simple it really is. After that, you'll never pay a service centre to do it again. Scam number 5. Counterfeit parts sold as genuine BMW parts. This is one of the most dangerous scams out there, and it's becoming more common every year. Counterfeit parts look identical to genuine BMW parts. Same logos, same packaging, same part numbers printed on the box, but inside they're low-quality knockoffs made with no safety testing, no quality control, and no accountability. The Automotive Anti-Counterfeiting Council estimates fake parts cost the industry billions every year, and BMW owners are frequent targets because genuine BMW parts are expensive and the profit margin on fakes is enormous. The risks here are serious. Counterfeit brake pads may be made with substandard friction material that crumbles or fades during an emergency stop. Fake airbag components might not deploy in a crash, or worse, deploy unexpectedly while you're driving. Cheap oil filters can clog prematurely and starve your engine of oil, leading to catastrophic damage. Counterfeit sensors can cause misfires, false warning lights, or emissions failures. And I've personally seen cases where customers were charged full price for genuine BMW parts, only to receive fakes worth a fraction of the cost. Here's how the scam works. A service centre orders cheap counterfeit parts online or through shady distributors. The parts arrive in packaging that looks legitimate, sometimes even shrink-wrapped with BMW logos and holograms. The service advisor writes genuine BMW parts on your invoice, you pay the premium price, and you assume everything is fine. But the part installed on your car is a fake, and you have no idea until something goes wrong. I had a customer whose F10535 I started misfiring just months after a shop replaced his ignition coils. He brought the car to me, and when I pulled the coils, they looked like genuine Bosch parts with all the right markings. But something felt off. The plastic was too light, the connectors were slightly loose, and the performance was inconsistent. We tested them and confirmed they were counterfeit. He'd paid over $600 for genuine parts that were worth maybe $50 total. Worse, those fake coils were causing misfires that could have damaged his catalytic converters if left unchecked. Protect yourself by asking for proof of origin. Genuine BMW parts come sealed and labelled, with documentation showing they were sourced through BMW's official distribution network or authorized suppliers. If a shop refuses to verify authenticity, gets defensive when you ask, or can't provide documentation, walk away. You can also cross-reference part numbers on BMW's official parts website or apps like Real OEM to confirm what the genuine part should look like. And remember, if the price seems way too good compared to what the dealer or a trusted parts supplier charges, there's probably a reason. Genuine BMW parts are expensive because they meet strict standards. A deal that's 50% below market price is almost always a counterfeit. Scam number 6, blinding you with technical jargon. This is the oldest trick in the book, and it still works on BMW owners every single day. A service advisor loads you up with technical terms: valvetronic actuator fault, Vanos timing irregularities, crankcase ventilation system failure, DME adaptation values out of range, to make a simple issue sound catastrophic. The goal is to confuse you into approving expensive repairs without asking questions or seeking a second opinion. I've had BMW owners come to me absolutely convinced their engine was on the verge of total failure, only to find out the real issue was something minor. A loose vacuum line, a dirty mass airflow sensor, or a software glitch that reset with a simple code clear. One customer with an E9328i was quoted $2,200 for a Valvetronic motor replacement with full system recalibration. Sounds serious, right? When I looked at the car, the Valvetronic system was fine. The problem was a $5 gasket on the valve cover that was leaking a tiny bit of oil. 15-minute fix. When service centers overwhelm you with jargon and refuse to explain things in plain language, it's usually because they're hiding something. Either the repair isn't as urgent as they claim, or the problem is simpler and cheaper to fix than they're letting on. A good technician can explain any repair in terms you can understand. If they can't, or if they get annoyed when you ask for clarification, that's a red flag. Always ask for a clear explanation in plain language. What's actually broken? Why does it need fixing? What happens if I wait? How much will parts cost versus labor? A reputable shop will answer all of these questions without hesitation. And if they try to rush you into approving repairs by making everything sound urgent and complicated, slow down and get a second opinion. Take the time to learn the basics of your car too. Know where your dipstick is, where your coolant reservoir sits, and what the common weak points are on your specific model. For example, if you own an N54-powered 335i, you should know that the high-pressure fuel pump, wastegate rattle, and valve cover gaskets are common issues. If you own an E90 with the N52 engine, valve cover gaskets and oil filter housing gaskets are frequent leaks. That knowledge alone will protect you from most scams, because you'll know when someone is exaggerating a problem or making something up entirely. Scam number 7. Unnecessary transmission and differential flushes. This scam drains wallets faster than almost anything else. You bring your BMW in for an oil change or routine inspection, and suddenly the service advisor recommends a transmission flush, differential flush, transfer case flush, sometimes all three at once. Each one costs anywhere from $200 to $400, and they'll tell you it's critical or overdue based on your mileage. The problem? Most of these services aren't needed as often as they claim, and some aren't needed at all. Let's start with transmissions. Many modern BMWs use what BMW calls lifetime transmission fluid, which means the fluid is designed to last the life of the transmission under normal driving conditions. Now, does that mean you should never change it? Not necessarily. Some BMW specialists recommend a transmission fluid change around 60,000 to 100,000 miles as preventive maintenance, especially if you drive hard or tow occasionally. But a full flush almost never needed. Here's the issue with transmission flushes. Flushing forces new fluid through the system under pressure, which sounds good in theory. But in a transmission that's been running fine for years, it can actually stir up debris and metal particles that have settled in the pan or valve body. Once that debris gets circulated through the transmission, it can clog passages, stick valves, and cause shifting problems that weren't there before. I've seen this happen more times than I can count. Someone gets talked into a flush at 70,000 miles, and 2 months later their transmission is slipping or shifting hard. A simple drain and fill is safer, cheaper, and still effective if a fluid change is actually due. It removes a portion of the old fluid and replaces it with fresh fluid, without the high-pressure circulation that causes problems. And always make sure they're using the correct BMW spec fluid. Using the wrong transmission fluid, even a high-quality universal fluid, can cause shifting issues, slipping, or even long-term damage. Differential and transfer case fluid is a bit different. If you drive a BMW with xDrive or a rear-wheel drive model with a traditional differential, these fluids do need changing eventually. BMW's official recommendation varies by model, but it's usually somewhere between 50,000 and 100,000 miles. The first change is often recommended earlier, around 30,000 miles, to remove any break-in debris. After that, you can usually stretch it to 60 or even 100,000 miles if you're not towing or driving in extreme conditions. But service centers love to push these services early, and often because the profit margin is high. I've seen shops recommend differential flushes at 20,000 miles when the fluid is still perfectly clean. They'll say it's preventive or best practice, but in reality it's just an easy upsell. Unless you're towing heavy loads, doing serious off-roading, or tracking your car regularly, you don't need these services as often as they claim. To protect yourself, always ask for a written estimate that breaks down parts and labor separately. Question anything that doesn't make sense or seems excessive. Ask why the service is needed now, what happens if you wait, and whether BMW recommends it at your current mileage. A reputable shop will explain repairs clearly and show you proof, either in your service records or in BMW's official maintenance schedule. And if a technician becomes defensive or pressures you when you ask questions, that's your sign to leave. Here's the bottom line. BMW service centers, whether independent shops or dealerships, are businesses. Some are honest and care about doing right by their customers. Others see every car that rolls in as an opportunity to maximize profit, whether the services are needed or not. The 7 scams I just walked through are real. They're happening every day, and they're costing BMW owners thousands of dollars in unnecessary repairs and services. But now you know what to watch for. You know the common tactics, the red flags, and the questions to ask. That knowledge puts you in control. You don't have to be an expert mechanic to protect yourself. You just need to be informed and willing to push back when something doesn't add up. Always ask for a written estimate before any work is done. Question everything that sounds expensive or urgent. Don't be afraid to get a second opinion, especially for major repairs. And trust your instincts. If a service advisor is pushy, defensive, or refuses to explain things clearly, that's your cue to walk away and find someone who will treat you with honesty and respect. If you found this video helpful, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss future videos. We're here to give you real, honest information that helps you keep your BMW running strong without the dealership games. And if you want to learn the exact maintenance schedule that will keep your BMW reliable for years, check out our last video where we break down everything you need to know.